So we're going through another cubic inequality question. Here it is. We're being asked to solve this for when it is greater than or equal to 0. The first thing that we do is decipher what it's saying. It's saying when is this function above or touching the x-axis. Above because I've got the greater than, and touching because I've got the equal to. So in order to do this, the first thing I'm going to do is graph it. So I'm going to have to find my x-intercepts. Using my null factor theorem, I can do this nice and easily. It's going to be -3, it's going to be +5, and it's going to be +2. So I'm just setting each of these equal to 0 and solving for x. If I were, for example, put -3 into my x spot, I'd get -3 plus 3, which is 0. The whole thing would go to 0, therefore it's an x-intercept. So let's now write that down on my graph. So let me put -3 over here, let me put 2 here, and let me put 5 over here. What I now have to do is draw it. But I need to figure out whether or not it's going to look like this, or if it's going to look like this. So remember, it looks like this if I have a positive in front of my x cubed, but it will look like this if I have a negative in front of my x cubed. So what we need to do is we need to determine whether or not for this right here, I'm going to have a positive or negative in front of my x cubed. We don't need to expand it. Do not expand it. You'd be wasting your time. All you need to consider is, well, this is positive, and this is positive. So if I were to times them all together, obviously I'm going to get positive x cubed, but then I have a negative out the front. So that negative is going to mean it's going to be this one right here. So you don't have to expand it. You can figure it out just by looking at it. After we've done that, we can now sketch it. So let's come over here and let's give this a sketch. So I'm going to go down, and then I'm going to go up, and then I'm going to go down again. Okay, not the prettiest graph in the world, and actually this looks kind of funky. Let me try that one more time. I can do a better job. It's going to go down, then up, then down again. Okay, that's much better. So then we can put some arrows here. Now, we do not need to find the y-intercepts. Again, you'd be wasting your time if you found the y-intercepts. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to highlight the relevant areas. So that is above or touching the x-axis. Let me get my highlighter. So I'm above the x-axis right here. So I'm going to highlight this region. And then I'm above the x-axis right here as well. So I'm going to highlight this region too. Now remember, it's above or touching. So just to remind myself, I'm going to put some closed circles because I'm also including where it's touching the x-axis. Now, using this, I can write down my answer. Remember, the graph is not your answer. This is your answer right here. I can write it using both inequalities, or I could use interval notation. Let's do both. So if I were to write it using inequalities, what I would say is that I have, well, this region right here would be x is less than or equal to -3, or I could have x is less than or equal to 2 is, oh, sorry, that is wrong. Let me try that again. The way that I would write it is rather 2 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 5. 2 is less than or equal to x, or less than or equal to 5. So that represents this region right there. So that is how I would write down my answer using as an inequality. I can also use interval notation to write down what my answer would be. And I prefer doing it this way. I would say that my x is an element of this right here would be -infinity all the way to -3 square bracket, because it's greater than or equal to, then the union of 2 to 5. So in my head, that's just a lot easier, making sure I'm using round and square brackets appropriately. Don't make that mistake. Okay. So we have now done that, and let me repeat again, do not find the y-intercept. It's not useful information for us for this question. We don't care how far below or above we are from the x-axis. All we care about is the fact that we are above or that we are below. So don't make that mistake. Okay, so overall, here are our answers. Hopefully that was helpful. I'll see you in the next video.